Welcome to the Shifter, everybody. I'm Will.
I'm Matt.
And Matt, you know what? You always talk about, oh, Will forgets the sponsors. Oh, he's Kurt Busch. He has an attitude problem. Um, I'll throw it to you to do the sponsors right now. Anybody who
Oh,
got the reference? Awesome. Anybody who didn't, I'm so sorry.
yeah. Stop your lagging, man. You weren't lagging before the show started, and now you went to lagging. And my dad's
I'll
gonna
stop.
cut.
You're lagging.
All right, let's get to the sponsors. Um, so Milan, show Mari is an introvert. Go watch it on her YouTube channel. Go follow at Bricasso on Instagram. She made our logo. It looks real cool. She even has arm hairs. Arm, like real detail. Will has lots of arm hair. Grateful Studio.
Hey,
Follow at Grateful Studios on Instagram. Terrell's clothing brand. They're doing a launch of party thing in Ohio in October. So they're going to multiple different a lot of cool things over there. And then Ken's YouTube, go watch it if he's still posting videos. I hope he is, because we're still shouting him out. So yeah.
in that case, I'm also going to throw it to Matt to do the race recap.
Why, Will?
I was dealing with personal matters.
How many closets are there to fix?
Many.
It's not a euphemism, guys. I'll say it this week. I'll defend you. Okay, guys, because I wouldn't really be defending you, but like it's Will's personal life. Don't you guys stop. Come to me. Come to me.
It's my
Stop.
personal life. You talk about my personal life, I'm gonna get offended.
Okay, let's get into the race. Okay. So the truck race was won by. I want you to guess. I want you to guess who won the truck race. Yeah, I
Who
think
won
you
the
can do
truck
it.
race?
I think
Who did win the truck race?
it's the
I
it's
don't know.
the most it's the
Wait,
easiest
was it
guess. It is who has won most of the truck races this year. Dear God, come on. I
is it
say
Corey
it every
Heim?
week. Corey Heim won a
Corey Heim won?
probably the most boring race of the weekend, but it wasn't a bad race. Very cut and dry. The truck series has done a great job cutting out all the stupid crashes this year. I just want to make a note because they got a lot of crap last year for just terrible racing because it was almost like the ARCA series. They have cleaned up their act. I'll tell you what. Ty Majeski actually led most of this race, but his car fell off. His truck fell off his stage three like it always does. And Corey Heim made it become Heim time again. And Jamie Little is back in the booth for some reason. All right,
Oh no.
but we had two bangers of a race this weekend. Normally, I don't talk about the
I
Xvideos, but I'm
know
gonna do
bangers.
not what would you consider a
No
banger?
bangers. I know bangers.
What was that little? Okay, so um, didn't you say Espresso was a banger last week? And you like do that?
Espresso? Yeah, the song by Sabrina Carpenter. It's a banger. It's a wonderful song. It's a wonderful tune.
I must be getting some weird lag or something. Okay, so the Xfinity Series race was in Portland. It was at a road course, and it was crazy. It was wild. Justin Allgaier actually dominated this thing. Say crazy and wild for me, just to make sure that there's no lag.
Crazy and wild.
It still just sounded a little weird. All right, so Justin
More
Allgaier
like
dominated.
wild and crazy guys.
Chris Farley is not here, and the Bears have not made the playoffs in years.
Let's keep it that way.
Okay, so rest in peace, Chris Farley. By the way, I just want to.
Yeah.
I love the man.
I can't wait to announce the winner of this race.
I have to wait a second. I'm gonna let you announce it too because I know you know who won this race. Just give me a second. So I'm not gonna say his name at all. Actually, the guy who won this race in the '97 car actually kept screwing it. Screwing it real bad. Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier battled for most of this thing, but if you know anything about NASCAR, you know Sheldon Creed's not going to win an Xfinity race ever. He tries his best, but he finished second 8 times and just always messes up. But the guy in the '97 that won this race kept running into the back of people and damaging his car. He only spun out one car, but eventually on the last restart, who would take the lead and win the race?
None other than let me talk to you, SPG. Yeah. Yeah,
Shane Van
he's LA Knight. SVG is LA Knight.
And the last part I'm going to
I
talk
guess
about the
it make
Xfinity.
more sense to do like Rob Van Dam, SVG.
The whole.
Nah, SBG. Yeah. Sorry, continue with your
It's okay. One
stuff.
last note of the Xfinity Series race, because this was probably one of the coolest celebrations I've seen in a long time. Shane Van Gisbergen did a drift around the entire racetrack. Remember, we're at a road course here, almost 2 miles long in Portland. Portland needs a cup race, very stats, because all of the Xfinity races there have been great. But Ross Chastain has the watermelon crush. Daniel Suarez crushes the pinata, and Shane Van Gisbergen revealed what his was. He kicked a rugby ball into the crowd after signing it. And by the way, Corey LaJoy made a note on this on Stacking Pennies. I don't watch podcasts. I saw this clip. Will's the podcast guy with NASCAR. He keeps up with that for us. But this man's legs must be very strong because if you watch the clip, he does it looks like a baby kick. And this thing goes like into the sky, into the crowd, into like the second or third.
Have you seen the dude? He's huge.
Oh, he's a huge man. And it sounds like this man, just a silly season note here, it sounds like he will be taking the third Trackhouse charter and not Zane Smith. So it'll be interesting to see where Zane Smith winds up next year. I thought SVG would be going to college, to be honest with you, but sounds like he's going to Trackhouse. He's going to the mothership, it sounds like, but those are only rumors. And we'll get into some more rumors at the end of the show. But now we got to get into the cup race because surprisingly at Worldwide Technology Raceway, no, I refuse to call it that. This place is Gateway, and you can't tell me other. But
just like it's a Staples Center. I'm not calling it crypto.com, any of that new stuff.
Man, is there something different? Okay, let's just get back into the okay. So this race started off with Michael McDowell winning his third pole of the season, guys.
Oh,
but his first non-super speedway pole of his career. Oh, do you want to talk about Ronald Acuna for a second? Do you want to get him in the shot? Was that the point of that?
I love him so much. Why?
Guys.
Why, God, why?
Wish him a speedy recovery, guys. I know a lot of you don't watch baseball. For a matter of fact, a lot of you don't watch NASCAR. That's why I got to do these race recap. So, Austin Cindric, who will not be mentioning at all anymore in this, I promise, qualified in second. But Michael McDowell would spurt out to an early lead. And then very quickly into the race, you remember that Cody Ware was here because he spun out. And then we'd go back, green flag race. Cats, stop knocking stuff down. But then Michael McDowell again would get away on that green flag restart. And then we'd run about 5 to 10 more laps. And once again, Cody Ware would spin out. This time taking Derek Kraus with him. Both would continue. Cody Ware and Derek Kraus would not be heard from again in this race. So then Michael McDowell again would take the lead. But very late in the stage, the dominant car of the day was realized. Christopher Bell would take the lead from Michael McDowell and win the stage. And then we'd start stage 2.
My Christopher Bell over Kyle Larson take. Aging like fine wine.
Okay. Well, I hope I didn't hear that. Christopher Bell would actually not lead this restart because with all the Cody Ware shenanigans, and not the illegal kind, we would, yeah. He's innocent. The glove did not fit. My bad. Wrong case. So
you must acquit.
You must
Orenthal James Simpson, a true American.
So I think I got that lag again. Hi Tilly. Tilly is my cat, by the way, guys. She's saying hi
Tilly,
because I just got home from work.
Like Jennifer Tilly, wonderful actress in the Chucky movies, I tell you. She's hilarious. Hilarious lady.
Kyle Busch would lead us to green because him and RCR teammate Austin Dillon stopped during all this kerfuffle. So, or hullabaloo. But him, Austin Dillon, and Josh Berry would take off, and Kyle Busch would lead some laps. Guys, Kyle Busch led some laps in this race. I promise this is the last time I'm going to mention Kyle Busch in this race because he didn't do anything embarrassing in this race. I promise, guys. I promise. Kyle Busch would lead until Christopher Bell came from 15th to 1st to take the lead back. That 20 car was on rails, and at this point, it looked like nobody could touch it. So then Austin Dillon would pass teammate Kyle Busch to move to second, and Austin Dillon would hold his place in the top 5 for basically the rest of this race. Austin Dillon, shout out. A lot of people have talked crap about you this year, but you ran a wonderful race after starting 32nd. Kyle Busch would then begin a free fall through the field, which would end at the very end of stage 2. In fact, on the last lap of stage 2, as Christopher Bell was cruising to a stage 2 victory over the Penske trio of Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Austin Cindric. Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson were battling for P7, and coming off the corner, coming off 4, Kyle Larson would make a little contact with the 8 machine, and Kyle Busch lost it again for the second time in the last 3 weeks. He started running into the 5 car down the straightaway, and as they go into the turn, and he is still right on Kyle Larson's door, Kyle Larson gets loose. They both slam into the wall, ending the 8 cars day. It did not end the 5 cars day, which you will find out later, because he actually does get a decent finish in this race because he's Kyle freaking Larson. But he had basically no real rear end for that car. I don't know how he finishes where he was, but you'll find out where he finishes later in this race. Because stage 3 would, after more strategy, would start with the Penske trio up front: Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano. 1, 2, 3. Finally, the Penske boys showed up today, but it looked like it was going to be all for naught because here comes that 20 car again. But Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney were able to get enough of a lead on the 20 car after Joey Logano and Austin Dillon held him up a little bit. Yes, guys, Austin Dillon was still in the top 5 at this point. So Christopher Bell would come into third before green flag pit stops, where Austin Cindric was leading. Austin Cindric led this entire run, but the 2 car would have a little bit of a longer stop than the 12, which would be important at the end of this race. So that would give the 12 car the lead, but quickly through lap traffic, the 20 car cut through, got into third, but 2 cars hadn't pitted yet. And it was starting to make you wonder, because pretty much on most green flag stops today, that's where the cautions have come out. I also did leave out, this has been a common thing with Gateway, I left out the one other crash of the day, because I didn't really explain where Josh Berry went. It seemed that a problem here. Will's actually watched the last 2 Gateway races. He just didn't get to watch this year. Last year, Bubba Wallace and Carson Hocevar had brake problems and slammed the wall, and the year before that, Kevin Harvick did. It seems like the Fox broadcast, which was again terrible, did not confirm or deny whether he just blew a tire, but it looked like he lost the brakes on the 4 machine. And again, another top 5 run for Josh Berry got thrown away. He finished last in this race because of this incident, but that happened in stage 2 as well. But so then back to the players here. Austin Cindric in second, Christopher Bell in third, Brian Blaney in first. But they're catching lap traffic. They're catching lap traffic. Daniel Suarez, who has kind of became the new Ryan Newman this season, very hard to lap. They had caught him and they just could not lap him. And it really wasn't like an air thing, because you could pass just fine here at Gateway today, though the air was a little bit of a factor. He was just using the outside lane. But Brad Keselowski and Bubba Wallace were leading the race at this point. They had not pitted. And as me and Will have learned in the past, you can never count out Brad Keselowski on saving gas.
No, you can't.
But Brad Keselowski would eventually pit with 15 to go. Bubba Wallace would pit on the same lap. This ruined Bubba Wallace's day. Completely ended it. He would finish 21st, which is important to the playoff bubble, which we'll get to in a little bit. But he was running like 15th all day. I don't know. He's just not very good at Gateway team. But the 6 car would actually fall back to like the edge of the top 10. Probably around like 11th or 12th. It would rocket all the way back up to 3rd in the final 15 laps of this race. Brad Keselowski did. But that 6 team now has 3 straight top 3 finishes. They are on a roll. But
the 6 team, in my opinion, is the favorite to win the championship as of right now. I think you actually agree.
I still think you got to beat the 5. I really do. I think I've said Brad Keselowski is very dangerous going into these playoffs if he keeps this momentum. But nobody showed the consistency like that 5 team this year, except maybe his teammate, which nobody talks about because he doesn't have the wins. He only has one of them. But Chase Elliott is actually the only driver to finish all the races in the top 20 this year. 9.9 average finish.
I didn't even know that. So,
but also I think the 19 team's been very consistent without a win, and of course the 11 team. But I'm never going to pick Denny Hamlin as the championship favorite because I feel like I'm
No.
jinxing him. I'll feel real bad. But let's
Yeah,
get
I'm
into the
pretty sure
news
I
race.
picked. Hold on. I think I picked Denny to win the championship. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where it's until I see him do it, it's going to be really hard for me to believe that he can. And to your point, yeah, I know no one's shown the consistency of the 5 team, but me personally, if we're talking about making a playoff run, uh, I'm I'm not going with Brad, but I'm not going with Kyle Larson over Brad, if that
Yeah,
makes
I also
sense.
really like the 45 team. 45 team has looked very good. But
Yeah,
you haven't heard from him in this race, but you will eventually hear in these. Well, probably just from finishing results. But so here we go. Christopher Bell finally gets to Ryan Blaney. He's able to get past Austin Cindric light work. All the lap cars that Ryan Blaney has struggled with. Still can't get around Daniel Suarez, by the way. And Bubba Wallace has unlapped himself on the fresh tires. He was able to pass these guys. So you have Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, and Noah Gragson right in front of Ryan Blaney. And you're thinking, this thing's done. It's over. Christopher Bell's going to take this lead. But then we'd get probably the battle of the season for 10 to 12 laps here before it would have consequences. So the 20 car would get under the 12 car and even pass him a couple times. But every single time the 12 car would dive bomb, make a desperation move, get the lead back, bump him out of the way down the straightaway. Ryan Blaney was almost against the wall at Gateway, which is insanely hard to do. The groove finally widened out that far. Gateway is normally a one groove racetrack. It kind of reminded me a lot of the line that Dale Jr. used to run at Richmond that nobody else could really run up except for that one random race in like 08 where Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson did it. But where he did the run
yeah.
off.
Was that fall '08?
I
Or
think
was that
so.
fall
Jimmy wins and Tony
'07?
gets second.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's
I
car
don't know
tomorrow,
why.
isn't it?
It's car of tomorrow, and I want to say it's the Tony car with the black. So I want to say it's 2008.
I think it's the same race Junior takes out Kyle.
I think it is. I think I want to. By the way, side note, we gotta watch that race just because I have actually not seen that race flag to flag. Not the Kyle taking out Junior, the Junior taking out Kyle one. But anyway,
Yeah.
aside from the point, yeah. Go back into the rundown.
So my dad made a really good point. As Ryan Blaney's doing this, Ryan Blaney's doing another smart thing that Junior used to do at Richmond, where he'd make sure to cut across the 20's nose as he's coming off the corner. So any run that Christopher Bell's getting down the straightaways, as long as Christopher Bell doesn't pass him like he did a couple times, it's just kind of null and void. So the 12 car can just lead. And once again, it looks like the 20 car is working on him and about to get him. The 12 car gets a massive run off the front stretch, but this time it's a little different. The 12 car starts pulling away, and you're like, something's wrong with the 20 car. Something was wrong with the 20 car. It was blowing up. Day looked to be done for Christopher Bell, but then something I haven't seen in NASCAR, Mike Joy pointed out. Mike Joy made the Rick Mass Harry Gant reference. Since the 80s, Martin Truex's day was ruined because of a pit road penalty earlier in the day. He was a lap down running like 34th due to the lack of cautions in this thing. Christopher Bell still have the great corner speed because he's the best handling car on the racetrack. Martin Truex would push him down the straightaway for the rest of the race, and Christopher Bell would hang on to finish 7th in this race with a car that probably could not make minimum speed. So shout out to the Joe Gibbs boys for working together there, because with the new playoff rules, that could be important because Christopher Bell is right on the edge of the top 10 in points, and you get extra points going into the playoffs if you finish in the top 10. So that could become very important later on in the season, especially with the inconsistency of that 20 team. But it looked like the champ was finally back. Ryan Blaney, huge lead, cruising, though Austin Cindric is cutting into it because Ryan Blaney still can't get past Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, and Noah Gragson. But finally, he would pass Daniel Suarez coming to the white flag, and it looked like it was going to give him just enough cushion where the 2 car would not be a factor. But coming into 3 and 4, Daniel Suarez would pass Ryan Blaney back, and I found it very weird. The 12 car made a wiggle. The 12 car's pit stop was faster because they did not plug a second can of fuel in. And Ryan Blaney, due to a gaffe by the crew, would lose this race. And what did that mean? A guy who had only won one cup race, the 2022 Daytona 500 winner, Austin Cindric, will get a victory, followed by Denny Hamlin in second, Brad Keselowski in third, Fourth place, Tyler Reddick, who actually ran outside of the top 25 for a lot of this race, and then just randomly in stage 3 marched his way through to a top 5 finish. Joey Logano, a much-needed top 5, especially with the playoff picture that Will's going to talk about in a second that got really messed up. Austin Dillon's best run in probably 2 years ended with a 6th. In 7th place was Christopher Bell, like we talked about. 8th place, how about it, Carson Hocevar? 8th place, underdog. And in the underdog
Carson also, did he make his cup debut at Gateway?
Yes, because remember he was running top 15 in the 7 car and had the brake failure last year.
That's right. Yeah.
But the underdog story gets even more amazing in 9th place because for the second time in 3 weeks, the 9th place finisher is Justin Haley in this thing. And in 10th place, I'm going to go ahead and mention it right now just so we can get it out of the way because we spent way too much time on it last week. Kyle Larson was granted his playoff waiver this week. He will be a part of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. But he marched back to a 5th place finish after the hard crash with Kyle Busch. But, Will, what does Austin Cindric, the underdog victory, mean for the playoffs?
All right. So talking about this individual season, this throws an absolute monkey wrench into everything. I'll talk about my driver specifically, Bubba Wallace. I believe he's sitting in 13th right now, but he is by no means safe. Nobody 15th. Is. 15th. I don't know. Did I say 13th?
He's 15th, 13 points.
Was he 13th coming into the week? Who was 13th coming into the week? Was it him?
Blaney. No, Bubba was 14th. Blaney was 13th. Blaney's 14th now. Okay. Bubba's 15th.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so Bubba's sitting in 15th. Not safe at all. Austin Cindric.
Not in the playoffs, right? So he's in the playoffs, but not locked in.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Win a race, idiot. Sorry.
Am I correct that
my race team's 2 years old? My bad, man. My bad. Sorry.
Hey, keep talking like that. You'll be sleeping with the fishes, eh?
Wait, that weird. Okay, get into it, man.
So, I lost my train of thought. First off, this is awesome for Austin Cindric because this is the inflection point. Because in our little meeting before this, I said, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not high on Austin Cindric. I think he's a funny guy, and I think he has talent. I think Austin Cindric has what it takes to be very similar, actually, to this driver I'm about to compare him to. This, to me, feels like Cole Custer getting that win at Kentucky. Because, let's hop in the Wayback Machine. Cole Custer getting that win at Kentucky. Was that necessarily his race to win? No, but look, that's part of racing. You find yourself in the right spot, you will eventually win races, and that's what Austin Cindric did here today. So I know some people are saying like, "Oh, Mickey Mouse win this, that, and the third." I don't subscribe to that. Because at the end of the day,
he's second most laps in the race.
Yeah, which is, I mean, its own argument. I've seen a lot of the Mickey Mouse stuff. I don't really get it. Like if we awarded the win to the guy like that led the most laps in a given race, the NASCAR history would be changed so drastically. So that's one thing. But this is the inflection point for Austin Cindric, in my opinion, because this either could be him seeing one fault. Yes, I know who won the Daytona 500, but talking about the drought that he's been on since that point, and I mean, Austin Cindric has been bad in that 2 car. Let's not sugarcoat it. Terrible. One top 5 this year, right? That was the stat?
Yes. It's also his only top 10.
One top 5, one top 10.
But now he has 2.
In the 2 car. But now he has 2. But in the 2 car, Penske, that's really bad. Austin Cindric I'm not calling him a talentless hack by any means. Cole Custer's not a talentless hack. But again, we hop in the Wayback Machine. That could have been the moment to make it click. Just he saw one go in. And this might be Austin Cindric seeing one go in. I don't necessarily think that's what this is, because I do think this is kind of like Cole Custer getting that win in Kentucky a few years ago. But that being said, now I want to talk about just the greater points format look. We don't need to relitigate this thing. You probably hate the playoffs. And if you don't hate the playoffs, nothing I'm going to say about why I don't like it is going to change your mind. Because, yeah, It's good drama. We'd have equally good drama if we didn't have it.
And
But
Will, you have every reason to want the playoffs because like your driver would not be in championship contention without the playoffs. That's not even a dig at Bubba. It's just true.
no, it is just true. But I will say the truth is that's kind of why I don't want the playoffs, just because this isn't legitimate. Austin Cindric should not be a championship contender. He has not earned it. Sure, under yes, like under the current format, yeah, he has earned it. The same way that Daniel Suarez earned his spot in the playoffs earlier. Are either of those two guys deserving of being at the table for the last 10 races
Daniel
of the year?
Suarez has been worse than Austin Cindric this year. No, no.
Which sucks so bad, but that's its whole other rant. Um, again, it's hard not to go off on a tangent about how much I hate the playoffs. I've got Matt Kenseth up here because I know some people say, "Oh, the last legitimate champion." That's not true by any means. I don't. The truth is, there's only been no, there's been quite a few champions that should not have been, but I mean, the only one that I really take exception to is Kyle Busch in 15, and I like Kyle Busch, but he missed a third of the season. Um, but honestly, I know some people are going to kind of look at this as like, oh, he's taking a spot from a more deserving driver, and that is true, but I don't even care about that. It's just the fact that he has sucked up to this point. He won this past weekend. Let's be honest here. He's probably going to suck leading up to the playoffs. He's probably going to suck in the playoffs. I hope he doesn't, because it's much better for the sport if Austin Cindric is good, if he takes this win and goes on a run. I hope so. And again, he's like a funny dude. So like I'm pulling for him. I know a lot of people aren't because of stuff he did back in the lower series, but um yeah, I'm sorry. This kind of thing just sucks because even in the old chase formats, if somebody, backed into a win or like even just an underdog win, it could just be a feel good moment. Regan Smith at winning the Southern 500. That was just a feel good moment because we weren't sitting there going, "Oh no, now he's taking up a spot in the postseason that we've decided that we have for some reason." Uh, you think of
David
I
Reagan.
don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say David Reagan. I was gonna say, I swear to God, that was the next name on my list. You think of David Reagan getting his wins, which, by the way, that could be in the six car or winning that awesome race at Talladega. Again, you're not sitting there going, "Oh God, David Reagan's in the playoffs." You're sitting there going, "Oh, that's awesome for that small team. That's awesome for David Reagan. That's so cool. That's fun. That's different." It doesn't. I don't want to say ruin the rest of the season, but it definitely takes away from it. Um, like, look, I know I'm not one to talk about the value of the individual races because I have not gotten to sit down and watch a race in a few weeks, right? But no NASCAR fan will sit here and deny to me that the individual races week to week, talking about just the weight of the event, it matters less because of the playoffs. And that sucks because purely content wise, this has been one of the more entertaining NASCAR seasons of all time. We are going to talk about 2024 as an absolutely legendary NASCAR season. It's up there already with great seasons like 2015. No, it's up there with seasons like
Okay, so I think I should talk about Bubba Wallace more since you made that joke.
no, 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 that's okay.
No, actually, but
It's
I did want to say something not
no,
about
no.
Bubba Wallace.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I want to play devil advocate for Austin Cindric's performance this year a little bit. Penske sucked, and Ford has sucked as a whole outside of RFK. So I'm not gonna hold this completely on Austin Cindric. Yes, he was bad in 22. That's his rookie year. Yes, he was bad in 23. Sophomore slump. William Byron wasn't good until year 4. So I'm not gonna say this is the end of Austin Cindric. And William Byron's defense during that time, Hendrick kind of sucked. So I think also over the last few weeks, we saw the 22 car win the All-Star race. We've seen the 12 car have more speed, even though they haven't gotten the results that they deserve. I think Penske's starting to turn a corner. So I think it is a lot more likely that Austin Cindric goes on a run than like Cole Custer. Because Cole Custer got the win and he hadn't shown completely anything. And Stuart Haas was on a downturn as he got hit. So as we now know. So I just wanted to say that because I feel like it's not quite the same as the Cole Custer thing, but I think it is similar. Because I don't think Austin Cindric's going to go to the round of 12. I think he's going to get eliminated in the round of 16. But I could
Yeah.
see him more top 10, top 15 runs as the season goes on, and maybe getting another win on a road course or a play track.
Um, I'll do a Jimmy Spencer thing here. If Austin Cindric, this is like if he can cross this benchmark, that this is really good. If Austin Cindric can get me 2 more top 5s, I'll eat a banana on the podcast.
And
A
if
banana
Austin
was just
Cindric,
the first thing that came to mind.
why?
I don't know. Like I'm
You
not
know what,
gonna
Will?
eat a
I'll
cigar.
make you a deal. So you got the 2 top 5 deal. If Austin Cindric wins 2 more races this year, I get to at the end of one of these shows, I get to film you running 400.
No, I'm not willing to do that because
That
there
is
is
one
still
lap around the track. That is one
no,
lap.
because there still is a percent chance that Austin Cindric could.
3 more
No,
races. 3 more races.
if Austin Cindric wins 3 more races, yes,
Okay.
yes, I'll do it.
All right. Time to go put the Michael Waltrip Racing jet fuel. So how about Dana White, man?
All right, to touch on it quickly, Dana White made a comment this past week that has everyone freaking out, where he just kind of casually said, "Oh yeah, I've been doing this deal with NASCAR. I'm gonna run their electric series." What? Now I will say I know a lot of people are freaking out because some people interpret that as saying that the Cup Series is going electric. That is not the case. Matt made a point in our production meeting that this is it's going to be like whenever we introduce the Truck Series, it's going to be its own series. That still doesn't make it any less crazy. NASCAR is
Bring
going
back
to have
jet.
an electric
Right.
series.
Right. I just
NASCAR is going to have an electric series.
miss him.
And I will say
If
that
Godspeed
absolutely.
will be in it.
Yeah, I can't hear you. You're cutting out. You want to make fun of me and my lagging
Oh,
and
it's because
such.
my phone is in my shirt.
Yeah. Maybe why don't you be mature and get a real setup like me? Sit at the table, eat with the family.
Man, I
Bada
don't even
bing,
have a
bada boom.
usable closet.
Oh, yeah, that's sad. Anyway, so yeah, I guess NASCAR has a fourth series coming on the way. It's an electric series. And one
Biff
more time
Arca
to
is a thing, pal.
uh, well, ARCA is not a national touring
It,
series
it, it's owned by
because there's
NASCAR. They
ARCA,
announced.
there's ARCA East and West though, right? This is
Yeah,
just
but then
ARCA.
they like combine them. It's very confusing to keep up with.
So is it technically a national touring series? Also,
I think,
actually, I guess Dana didn't say whether the electric series is going to be. I
yeah,
assume it
I
would
think
be,
when
but
NASCAR bought them, I think that was part of like the thing, but it has actually been bad for Arca. But that's a whole entire different topic.
yeah. That being said, real quick, just to touch back on the playoffs. I hate the playoffs. I hope the best for Austin Cindric, but stuff like that is this is just bad. This is just bad for the sport. Not bad for Austin Cindric, and again, hope the best for him. But talking about the legitimacy, a guy who has sucked for what are we week? What?
This is 15, 16,
I think we might
15.
even be deeper than that. Is it week 17?
No, I think we have 10 races into the playoffs.
Okay, yeah, we'll say week 16. We're through 15 weeks. Austin Cindric sucked,
Yeah. Will has
and
watched more
he's
races this year than Austin Cindric has top 10s, guys. Will has watched 4. He has watched 4 races.
is that
I
true?
know. I counted before this started this. Actually, it might be 3. I'm counting
Man,
Atlanta, even though he watched the last half of it.
no, I watched all of Atlanta.
Okay, so Daytona, Atlanta, Phoenix.
I watched Atlanta flag the flag, man.
Daytona, Atlanta, Phoenix, and Talladega because he was there.
Daytona, Atlanta, Phoenix, Talladega. I got to see a portion of Kansas. A lot of these races I've gotten to see bits and pieces of, man. Yeah, it's just priorities, man.
Fixing closets, guys. By the way, we're not gonna run past this. I actually had a question for you. So like throughout the show, there was like this random like, it sounded like you were almost talking in like a New York accent. Like randomly? Like, was that happening, or was I just like tired from work?
Matt, get your ears checked.
Okay, like you can.
You think I just would I turn up talking all New York and